Hello all, welcome to the next episode of the Test Talk Show. This is part 2 of our conversation with Prashant Hegde. Prashant is a engineering leader at MoEngage and has been doing a great work in software testing. In the last episode, we spoke about his journey, his work in software testing, the contribution he makes to the community, and his family's support in helping him do this. So going forward, I wanted to actually talk about the work that you're doing on your website, and we spoke of the feedbacks that you've received.
Right.
There are two specific feedbacks that I want to talk more about. One of them is where one of your product managers in your previous company said, you have the ability to break complex problems into simple words and make it understandable for a lot of people, for your teams. So that's a really important skill set for software testers, right?
Yes, it is.
And first is, my question is, did you just happen to you, or you made explicit attempts to learn it?
So I think in my case, it's really difficult for me to absorb, when things are really complex, right? That's how our brain works, right? We always break complex stuff into simpler ones. That kind of comes naturally to me. I even at my talks or when I write stuff, I try to keep it as simple as possible so that the person who is consuming it can take away something, right? And I think the same thing is what I do in my projects as well. When I work with people, I try to make it as simple as possible so that people can absorb it and work on the things that they are doing. Because more the complexity, the more challenging it would become, right? As complexity increases, we know that bugs and issues, the risks increase. So I also make some genuine attempts of how we can simplify things, whether by creating models or diagrams, if you can visualize problems in some way.
Okay.
I think visualization also kind of drives that clarity,
Yeah.
and helps to make things much more simpler to consume.
So is there like a framework that people can go through other folks to redo it or do it themselves?
So usually I speak about a lot of mind mapping, right? So I think mind mapping is a great tool by itself to drive clarity or to brainstorm things,
Okay.
or to put your thoughts down on a piece of paper. I have been using that a lot to drive clarity.
Okay. So because we are on the topic, we spoke of how you find ways to simplify something, because more the complex, more risk it would have. Something as basic as, well, I understand for conferences and tasks that you do, something as basic as writing a bug report.
Yes.
First of all, do you still write bug reports?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We do.
As an individual contributor?
No, I do write bug reports because we do something called as bug bashing.
Okay.
In which I still participate and I
Win.
I don't win here, but I do find out risks, and this is like an internal kind of testathon that we do on a consistent basis.
Okay.
So I do report bugs there.
Okay. So when you do write bug reports, do you sort of update them continuously, like until it actually becomes simpler for people to understand?
Yes, I do. I think if when you start a bug report, right, over the period of time, I think you will have much more clarity on the problem that you have found out. So I think sometimes I keep updating it till it gives that clarity to the reader. And we also use some tools that kind of automate partially the aspect of bug writing, like capturing logs or video and everything that a developer would need, all the information a developer would need to fix that problem.
Okay, got it. So actually the reason I was asking is because sometimes we get hung up on the larger things so much that smaller things like bug reporting go away. And for testers, it is really important. That's the medium.
It's a highly underrated skill. The art of writing good bug reports. It's something that testers often overlook.
Yeah.
But as a part of our training, the testers that I train, it's one of the basic aspects of how you write a good bug report.
Okay,
it's
nice.
something that we train people on.
So I'll come back to the training part because that's a really important space.
Yes.
Before that, the second feedback that I was talking about, one of your colleagues at your current company, MoEngage, gave that you're a dream teammate.
Yeah.
How did that term come along, or what is your understanding of it? How can anybody become a dream teammate?
I think that was Pooja. Pooja was really kind. So for me, a dream teammate probably is someone who would, walk along with you to make your vision, a reality. Uh, and I think the dream teammate would be someone who would own that responsibility and work as if they would work for their own company. Right? I would look at someone in my team who does that as a dream teammate, who would help me, make my vision a reality and work with me together.
So, any details like how,
Um,
any examples that you have?
Sure. So usually, when we work on projects, so you can only say limited of what they should be doing, right? But the best people who I have worked with, right, they don't need follow-ups, right? When you speak to them and when you give them a particular task, you don't need follow-ups. Furthermore, they always exceed your expectations, right? If you say a basic task, they would have done it in such a way that even you wouldn't have thought of some of those aspects of it, right? So the people who look at problems holistically and kind of do more than what is expected from them, which would delight both the stakeholders as well as you, they would be someone who would be a dream teammate.
I think in our earlier discussion also we spoke about going above and beyond. For testers, it's actually much more important given the landscape.
Right.
And anybody in our team, if they continue to do that, they automatically become a dream teammate. I think that term we should definitely use as designations. So anybody who does a great job becomes a dream teammate. That's a good term to use. Great. So the next thing which is really important to this discussion is training. And all companies, every tester goes through some part of some kind of training. Like
Yes.
At some places it's a 3-day training. Some places it's a 3 months. Some places it could be longer than that.
Yes.
How do you guys, or how do you personally like to train people, or what's your method?
Yes. So I think this training is something that is continual, which keeps happening, throughout one's journey. We keep learning new things. So usually, what we do is when somebody joins us, we have that onboarding training wherein they are trained on the product and some basic aspects of software testing. Even if they are already familiar, let's say you spoke about bug reporting, or how would they write good tests, or if in case of automation, how would they write good automated tests. So that is the basic onboarding training that we have. But beyond that, what we have started to do is we have something called as the learning goals, which is kind of mandated for all the testers.
Okay.
So we let testers choose their paths that they want. Okay. So we have 7 to 8 learning paths. So for instance, we have paths like testing fundamentals, DevOps, agile, automation, security, performance. Okay. So we let people choose the path that they want.
Okay.
And then we kind of help them take the necessary courses. We try to get them mentors. Many times it is an internal study group. We make a group of people within the company who are interested in the same path. Again, your paths can keep changing every year. For instance, this year my path may be security.
Okay.
Probably next year I can switch to the security path or to the
different
path, or else I can go to the next level in that path.
Okay.
So that way, people would enroll into something that they are interested versus we forcing them to learn something. And we also do something called as brown bag sessions that happen frequently, wherein somebody from within the team or within the organization would come and share their learnings or their skills that they learn.
Okay.
So there is a kind of internal knowledge sharing that is happening continuously.
Okay.
And we also do a quarterly QA exclusive event. Okay. So I also invited you to one of those events. So we try to call these industry leaders and the people who we look up to, and try to give our testers the exposure to the people who have excelled at testing.
Okay.
So that also gives them one is access to these people and also to learn from them.
Okay.
These are some of the things that we have been doing. We are also reimbursing for the courses, certifications.
Okay.
And if required,
the actual learning happens outside. They find out a path. Yes. And then they find out those courses outside and get that learning.
So it's like training happens internally. Someone from within the team. Many times we are not familiar with a particular path that we are choosing, but there would be a leader who is the part of that same team who he would be learning himself simultaneously, also trying to teach the group.
Okay.
So we are trying to have that internal kind of a path.
Okay.
But apart from that, there is also this we are trying to create a culture wherein people can learn from one another.
Okay.
For instance, we do a lot of pair testing these days.
Okay.
We have bug bashes wherein we pair a developer probably with a tester, or a tester and a designer, so that there is one is you are setting that creating that testing mindset among others. Second is you are also taking away some heuristics from others, or you're learning some of the new skills and new ideas that probably you wouldn't know. When you pair up with probably a designer,
Yeah.
you would wear that designer hat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
When you do it with a PM, you would put that product cap. So internally, when how can you make this entire testing a kind of social activity is what we are trying to do.
Have you felt the need of gamifying the learning process where there's leaderboard, somebody learning more or less accordingly gets rewarded or something on those lines?
We have gamified our bug bashes to to kind of get that participation, but learning, I think it's mostly intrinsic. People are having that motivation to learn. So fortunately, we have not gamified that.
Okay.
But
not have the need
to gamify so far. But usually, we apply gamification where you need some motivation for people to go beyond.
Yeah.
For instance, to participate in a bug bash, they would expect some rewards because that is mostly beyond their day-to-day work. But for learning, our people
they are been coming up.
Yeah, they are being coming up. That intrinsic motivation is there.
Oh, nice. Good. So, given that you guys have been training people and everything, do you see that training has an impact on the stickiness also, sort of retention in the team?
It has greatly increased the retention. So you'll not believe, I think, if you ask me what is my biggest achievement so far in MoEngage, probably the retention rates, right? It's more than 97%. Most of our testers, the average span is there, I think, most of them are 5 years plus.
Oh, wow.
But if you look at other departments, in our company itself, it's like 1.5 years is the rate of retention.
And I'm sure monetary compensation is not a
reason. Not the reason for that. Absolutely not a reason for that. But I think the main reason is when leaders invest in their in their people and their long-term growth, I think people will
people tend to
stick around because they get that opportunity. And also speaking about conferences or webinars, right? We have been letting our people participate in conferences.
Okay.
I'm trying to get more people to speak and also to blog. So things like that, I think when you create that culture of learning, I think people will stick around. And I think they'll also feel a sense of satisfaction in their work.
That learning, do you guys have any metrics where it has a positive impact on the work output also? Is there any such metrics that you've seen?
So usually, one of the things that happens is people learn a lot of things, but you don't see that visible implementation. Yeah, we do ask people to implement what they learned, but I don't have any metrics as such. But apart from retention, I think also the way they approach testing, or let's say the way they approach what they learn, probably has helped them to upskill and stay still relevant in this ever-changing world of technology and stuff.
Got it. Great. Given that we've spoken so much about training, and the positive impacts that it has had over the products under test and everything, what do you see is ahead now? As software testers and as for software testing, given that they have learned and then they have stayed, relevant to the craft, how do they go forward, or what is your view of software testing going forward?
I think the future is a little hard to predict with the kind of things that are happening, especially with the rise of generative AI and stuff like that. I think the future looks really bright for software testers. I think there will be much more newer industries probably which we might not have thought of even now. I think from many years there have been some disruptive technologies and methodologies. Let's say whether it is automation a few decades back or the rise of agile, DevOps. All this have always threatened testing and the craft of testing. But testers somehow have always reinvented themselves. They have made themselves, they have kept themselves updated and upskilled, and they are still able to add values to their teams despite all this. So I think more and more testing is now focused towards, it's mostly becoming tool-centric. I hope the future, becomes more of human centric. The human touch
Yeah.
of software testing still remains, and I think the future of testing probably is in the hands of leaders now, because we are the ones who would influence and shape the future of testing. So
Yeah.
there is a lot of responsibility on the software testing leaders to take the craft towards the right direction.
Yeah, I think so. See, as while there are disruptions, new tools, technologies
Yes.
will come, and as you said, they have come in the past as well. But given the resilience of a human being, testers are also human being. At the end of the day, they are not accounted enough for it, but they are. And as human beings, I'm sure people will find ways to reinvent and re-add value. And one of the things that at Muliaid also what we are trying to do is. While thinking and researching about generative AI and impact of AI on software testing, we're trying to see what are the tools that testers can use to increase their productivity.
Exactly.
What are the ways through which they could test those tools also?
Yes.
And something called prompt engineering, you would hear a lot has come around, where the AI can give you the answers, but asking the right question for
Questions
it
is
would
important.
be a skill in itself.
Yes.
And I think that's where the human touch would come in.
Yes.
I mean, you can use tools, but in order to get those tools to think and give
Exactly.
you the answer.
Exactly.
So today, for software testers, questioning is a very important skill set already.
Right.
But today, most of our questions to are other human beings. And when that happens, the other human being might also assume something and then respond something. From that response, we get our answer. But how do you build your mindset in such a way where you can think like the AI?
Yes.
You know what answers to get, and then ask that AI to get you that answer.
Right. As you rightly pointed out, I mean, these technologies will only help testers, do better at the craft when used rightly, of course. How can you, speeden up your testing? How can you make? I think programming is one of those things that is usually a challenge for testers. I think with the rise of low code tools and AI, even that is becoming very much accessible.
Correct.
And the pain points of automation, of managing their automation and maintaining the automation, that is also going to become much more easier.
Yeah.
The test data management, a lot of hard stuff that we do is going to be much more accessible and easier.
Correct.
With these tools, so that the testers can still focus on the critical thinking and the human aspect of software testing.
Again, there will be challenge, but for the ones who might not upskill in that area, or so obviously I'm guessing there will be loss of jobs, but it will, I think it will move towards the ones who are adding more value.
Yes.
People who are able to use those skill sets and develop their skill sets to use AI and other platforms and to do it. And as you rightly said, today if you can't write code, but if you know how to write it or how the syntax and everything works, tomorrow you can ask a system to generate that code for you and give you. And then your idea is to, how do you use it to the best of your abilities.
True.
So future looks, great that way. For the learning part of it, like learning this and learning other things, you spoke about learning and training in your company as well. While a lot of learning happens internally in the company, I'm sure, when you mentioned that people going to conferences and sponsoring those conferences also, the community part of it, how do we, is there anything that happens on the community side where your testers go out and learn that, or, actively volunteer that, contribute to those communities?
Yes. Most of our testers, I'm pushing them towards, blogging, and also you start as an attendee, you start learning, things at conferences by interacting with people, with the leaders in the software testing space, and some of them would be motivated to, do that or replicate what they are doing, whether it is writing blogs or speaking at conferences or even volunteering for a community, right? So some of them have started to do that already. So yeah, most of the testers probably are new to it, but eventually I would say they would do a lot more of this.
In software testing also, recently if you look at it, a lot of communities have come up, and there are some very good communities also that may have more than 1 lakh, 2 lakh participants who work, engage with them. What's your personal view of communities, and do you see, first of all, is there a need for a new community altogether? Because there are already so many, and the kind of work that they're doing, what's your view on those?
I think software testing is fortunate to have so many good communities, which have been coaching testers and guiding them in the right way. Uh, Probably a new community may not be needed at this point, but if there is a community that comes with a new thought process or does something that is absolutely crazy, I think there is no need for another testing community, because we have way too many. And I often see the same faces at these communities,
Correct.
same people, right?
Correct.
So I think the biggest challenge even for the communities is to attract those people who are outside this
Motivated bunch.
Yeah, the motivated bunch. So there are still, I think, 60 to 70% of the folks who are still not aware of these communities, and they never involve. And for the communities also to attract these people and to get them on these is still a challenge.
True.
So
what do you do different to get? Also, see, now that I've attended a few of these community events, as you rightly said, the same faces are there. Now, is it because of the work that the community is doing, or is it because those guys are motivated already?
I think the people who join these communities or contribute these communities are the people who want to excel in their careers and have taken software testing seriously as a career. The rest, I don't know. Usually, they do not want to go out on a weekend and just
very difficult to wake up on
a Saturday and then yes,
correct, and also pay 100 rupees
for an event. Yeah.
So I think, and see, one problem that I see is, I don't know if it's a problem or something else. I've gone to these events, I've heard people speak, and I've clapped for them. But coming back home, I have not implemented any of it, or my life is not changed
after that.
Not just significantly, not even changed in a small
fashion. Yeah, I think that happens a lot in these community events. You kind of get motivated after a couple of talks, but when you go back to work, it's the same thing. Though there are some key takeaways, but there is nothing that you implement. So I think one of the things that I am trying to do personally is in my talks or in my blogs that I write, I'm trying to give a clear call to action, and also giving something to the readers, that the time that they invested in reading my blog or attending my session, so they should be able to go back and do something meaningful at their workplace. Should not be a feel good talk. You go back, you just forget it and do nothing about it. So usually I pick topics that can be implemented going back to the workplace, and they can further improve their reputation and credibility and excel at testing.
This thing, when you were talking about it, and on your website you have this call to action, I saw one feedback from a person that you had mentored. In Egypt, she wanted a job, and you helped her get better. And she spoke about how you always had positive words for her, which sort of motivated her to come into it. Do you get a lot of such requests from people, or not?
Yes. I'm part of a couple of mentoring platforms. I used to do a lot of mentoring earlier, not like on the mentoring platforms, but the people who connect with me on LinkedIn or on email. I have helped a lot of people to find jobs or start their journey as a tester. These days it's becoming increasingly difficult to mentor people, but I'm thinking of spending more time doing that in the coming days. That's one of the things that I want to do, in fact, going in the future.
This particular piece, right? There are two things here. One is not many testers, I believe, have not just the urge for it, but have done that. Yes. Or have gone to somebody else and said, please become my mentor.
Right.
Very few.
Right.
And so that's why I was asking, do you get a lot of such requests?
Yes, I do get a lot of such.
So there are decent number of people who want to do that. And because these guys they are already at a disadvantage that they don't have a job or are not able to get a job. Right. So they are at -1.
Yes.
They come to you to get 2+1 maybe, so that when they become more employable, they go and get a job.
Yes.
Now, in order to take somebody from -1 to +1 in the space of software testing, while tools technologies can be trained on, and for which we have hundreds of platforms, the thought process side of it, which I'm thinking is something that you would focus a lot on.
Yes.
How do you do it, and what's your success percentage that you're seeing till
now? Usually that is something which is hard to teach. When I speak to them one-on-one, probably that's when I try to educate them on how they should approach testing or what testing actually is. And it takes a lot of time for them to consume that and to really understand what testing is and what is the value that testing would deliver. But again, I usually refer a lot of a good content. So that's one thing that I do. Of course I cannot train them on everything, so I give them good resources that they can look at, right? I direct them to the right places. That is something that we can do when you don't have enough time. You can at least direct them to the right places wherein they can read about, or they can unlearn some of the things that they already know and learn the right things.
Have you faced any instance where you had to tell somebody, no, you can't become a software tester, you try something else?
No, that's not happened. So in my opinion is that there is a tester in every human being, right? I think anyone can be a tester, provided that they do a conscious effort of learning testing to become a good tester. So I feel every human has some aspect of testing. I think everybody can be trained. It's a skill that can be acquired with experience, with learning.
Okay, got it. Great. I mean, that's really helpful. I have you reached out to anybody saying that please become my mentor?
No, I haven't. I usually have been this quiet and shy. I haven't reached out to anyone, but I have read a lot of content from all the leaders around, and I have tried to learn from what they have written. So that has been my source of knowledge. Yeah, whether it is YouTube or the blogs, I have done most of my learning that way.
Yeah, nice, good. So for personally also, now with that we have spoken about software testing, future, our employees, our teams, their learnings. For personally, what are some areas that you want to learn?
So for me, I think as everyone is speaking about AI and generative AI, I want to learn how those can be meaningfully applied in the software testing space. And there are many areas of software testing which probably many are not talking about, or not that much of expertise we see, whether it is accessibility testing or performance testing. There are great testers there, I'm not denying that, but I want to increase my horizon and be stronger in those areas as well, because we have a lot of expertise already in automation and stuff like that, but testing is really vast, right? We have so many areas of testing. So
automation has become like cricket in India.
Yeah.
It is so big, the huge influence it has.
Yes.
Other sports don't
get attention. The same thing is with the state of software testing.
Good. So learning wise is okay.
Yeah.
Future wise, what is the future that is for Prashant Hegde?
So there are a lot of things in my mind that's going on. I'm thinking of writing a book.
Okay.
On software testing, which probably I'll share some.
It's a mammoth task.
That's something. In fact, I read Pradeep's book on Buddha in testing. So that in fact inspired me to think about writing a book. Okay. And my perception of book also changed, because I had only seen big fat books before. Yeah. But this book was something that I could relate with, and is also very simple, easy to understand, plus a quick read, right? Yeah. So something on similar lines is what I'm thinking of. And of course, I will keep contributing to the communities more and more, and also speaking engagements will increase.
Got it. So in case one of our viewers wants to go speak somewhere, how does that person contact you?
They can get in touch with me on LinkedIn. I think I reply to almost all the messages that I get on LinkedIn. Very nice. Yeah, so that would be the best place to get in touch.
Great. What's your ambition for your website? What should your website be doing?
I think my website is something that I'm continuously improving. Right. I've been adding some things that people can come and download. I recently added a 1-page test plan which people can come in and download. Again, I've been trying to get some subscribers to my website from that, converting them so that I can give them some content and useful things that they can refer to and improve at their work. I think my website will keep improving. There will be more and more useful content that I'll be adding.
Nice. See, now that we spoke of how you can help others. Yeah. What if you were to just put out the help that you need? Is there anything that you need help with where anybody could come and connect with you on that?
Right now, the help is the request that I have for testers is to take their craftsmanship more seriously, and to do justice with the work that they are doing. That would be my message, because all of us testers have this responsibility of of taking this craft forward.
Yeah.
So I would say, engage yourself in learning, be a part of good communities, right? If you want, there are a lot of mentors. I don't think there is lack of mentors in software testing. There are so many mentors. Only thing is people are not
Mentees are not in.
mentees are not there, or people are not reaching out, or they're hesitant from keeping themselves updated, or keeping themselves they are keeping themselves away from learning.
Yeah. So I think there are a lot of areas in software testing where we could continue to speak about, but due to the lack of time, this is majorly it. Places like interviewing, how to interview well,
Yeah.
how some smallest thing like how to write a test idea also,
Yes.
how to identify and all. Those are very good areas, and I think a lot of learning platforms should focus on those skill sets. Tools, technologies, yes, they are important. How to use Selenium is an important subject, but how to first write the test idea, how to identify it, how to ideate it, and that's something small things that we are trying to do as well. So hopefully in due time we'll have a presence that will help a lot of testers to go and learn from. But in the meantime, I just want to thank you very, very much for coming over here today and spending so much time with us. It is always great to know you, and the first time that I met you in one of the community events was also very nice. And since then, I think we have done 2 more sessions today.
Yes.
So I'm hopeful that we'll get a chance to do much more and a lot of things. As you rightly said, a lot of software testing thought leaders. It's their additional responsibility to continue to keep the craft, evolving the craft, taking it forward. There are a lot of people who came before us who have done it, like James Park, Michael Booten, and many others. I don't even I can't even name all of them. And since they have done the job to bring it till here, it's a relay race. From here, how do we take it forward to the next stage? And not just, while obviously responsibility on thought leaders, and then responsibility on testers also
as well.
to continue to raise the flag high and add value finally.
Exactly.
Great, thank you all. Any ending words, last words?
It was great to interact with you. I'm looking forward for much more collaborations with you and
Sure.
in the coming days. I hope our interaction gives some takeaways for our viewers, and I hope it gives them something to go back and think, and take their skill much more seriously.
Yes. A lot of content for us also. So great, guys. Thank you. Thanks to my team as well, who has come together to help us build this content. If you guys have any needs, any questions, any doubts, please feel free to reach out to us. We are present on most of the social media platforms, and we will be really happy to help you and connect forward with you. Thank you.